On the eve of the wedding, I discovered my girlfriend's secret. She posted a post in a circle of friends that was visible to only one person. If you change your mind, the groom can be replaced at any time. The time was the day when we officially announced our relationship. The other person was her high school male classmate, her best friend of the opposite sex for 10 years. I took that circle of friends and found her at their bachelorette party. She pressed her eyebrows and said irritably, "It's unreasonable. You always hold on to the past. No wonder no one loves you." In the 4th year of our relationship, Luna and I stabilized our jobs and started talking about marriage. The night before the wedding, she was called away by a phone call. It's customary to have a bachelor's party the night before their wedding. A familiar male voice came from the other side of the phone. "Come here quickly, Luna. We've already set up a booth at our old place. We won't come back until we're drunk tonight." It's David, Luna's best friend of the opposite sex. "You." I just said one word when I was interrupted by Luna. "I have many classmates whom I haven't seen for a long time. I'll go over there." I tightened my fists and finally nodded in agreement. These days, she has been in a bad mood because of things in the company. As she was about to get married, I thought it would be good for her to meet her old friends and relax. However, I don't know if I went too fast. Before leaving, Luna went back to the bedroom to get something. When she came out again, she left her cell phone on the coffee table. I hesitated for a while before I decided to pick it up and take a look. Luna has a habit of deleting chat history and hasn't posted a few messages on Moments. So I scrolled down a few times and soon saw 2 moments she posted for years ago. A photo of me and her was taken when she officially announced on WeChat Moments that she had a boyfriend after she agreed to my confession. And the other one, "If you change your mind, the groom can be replaced at any time." I have never seen this circle of friends, and I opened the visible range with trembling fingers. This sentence is only visible to David. And below, he gave a thumbs up without hesitation. David came back from abroad half a year ago. During the meeting with her parents, Luna went out to answer a phone call. When she came back, she frowned and said she was going out. I asked her, "What's the matter?" She paused and turned around. "You don't even understand what's going on in the company." There was a hint of anxiety and reproach in his tone. It was as if saying these 2 sentences to me wasted her precious time. The expression on my face was a little stiff, as if aware of my embarrassment. She paused and forced a smile. "Dear, please help me greet my uncle, aunt, and my parents." After saying that, she left without looking back. She feels a bit familiar to me in this state. Sure enough, after bidding farewell to both parents, I called her many times before anyone picked up the phone. It was David who spoke. "Sorry, Tom. I just came here. I lost my phone, and I didn't bring any cash with me. I only remembered Luna's phone number." I held the phone tightly and asked, "Where's Luna?" "She went to help me order food. She said she was afraid she wouldn't find me again, so she asked me to hold my phone first," he said, with a smile in his voice, and he was obviously very happy. "What's wrong, Tom? Do you have anything to do with her?" At that moment, I was a little stunned and didn't know how to answer. His tone was natural and intimate, as if he was Luna's real boyfriend. When I took a taxi and arrived at the restaurant David mentioned, I immediately saw him sitting by the floor-to-ceiling window. He was eating noodles and playing with Luna's mobile phone. Luna took out a tissue and wiped away the soup splashing on his mouth very naturally. But I still remember that not long after we fell in love, I answered a phone call from Luna when she went to the bathroom. When she came out, she saw me holding her cell phone and immediately snatched it away. "Tom, I have a strong sense of personal boundaries and I hope you can respect my privacy." "Brother Tom." David saw me and waved from a distance. After I sat down, he said apologetically, "I'm sorry, I just heard Luna say that your parents had a meeting today to discuss marriage, but I called her out like this." I didn't look at him and kept silent. "Brother Tom, are you angry with me?" David continued, "This way, on your wedding day, I will give you a big red envelope as compensation, okay?" "Tom won't be angry," Luna suddenly said calmly. "Your matters are more urgent, and he can distinguish the priorities." My heart suffocated and I didn't say anything. It wasn't until I sent David back to the hotel and returned home that I called out to Luna, "You asked me to deal with both parents alone. Did you ever think that I would be embarrassed?" As she walked towards the study, she said calmly, "Don't just look for trouble to anger me. You know who is embarrassing you." These words were like a sharp knife piercing into my chest. The pain was so painful that I could not speak. Yes, during the dinner just now, my parents acted extremely Philistine and kept fawning over me. Luna's parents wanted my uncle and aunt to help arrange a job for my brother. Luna turned around and saw me standing there with a pale face. She paused for a few seconds, then came over and hugged me gently. "Sorry, that's not what I meant." She softened her tone slightly and said, "As you know, David is my best friend. He is helpless in this city. If anything happens, he can only come to me. Luna, I have told you about my family's situation." I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. "You don't need to force me to arrange my brother's work. That's how my parents are. Just ignore them. As long as you say you don't like me, I will never pester you." Even with my eyes closed, I could still feel the overwhelming sadness inside. Tom, I really like you and want to marry you. Lunar's expression was a little distressed. Remember what I said before, I will never leave you behind in this world. I pursed my lips. What about David? She paused. He and I are just friends. If you have any problems, come to me. Don't blame him, okay? I'm actually not surprised. This is not the first time she has protected David in front of me. The first time I met David was during the summer vacation after Lunar and I fell in love. I planned to stay in school, so she asked me to go home with her. The second day after arriving there, we caught up with Lunar and her high school classmates. My classmates have a very good relationship and we get together every holiday, Lunar said as she pushed open the door of the box. As soon as I opened the door, I was startled by the sound of a salute. Then, I saw her being held in someone's arms. Son, come and see Daddy. Lunar broke away from his arms, put a hand on his shoulder, and introduced me to him, no matter how big or small. This is my boyfriend. Although the tone was reproachful, there was intimacy between his eyebrows. The boy's eyes fell on me. He paused for a few seconds, smiled and stretched out his hand. Hello, my name is David. I am Lunar's deskmate for 3 years. He was wearing a white t-shirt and casual pants, and his expression was indescribably arrogant. Throughout the party, he went out of his way to show me how close he and Lunar were. Lunar was a little unhappy when she heard David complaining about her impulsiveness. When you injured your leg in the basketball game, it wasn't me who helped you get justice. David smiled. Stop talking about it. Miss, if it weren't for you, we wouldn't be able to fight with the opponent. Hello. Lunar stared with round eyes, stretched out her hand and twisted his arm. How can you talk? I won't help you next time you encounter this kind of thing. Okay, I was wrong. I definitely need you. David seemed to realize that I was sitting next to him, and he came over with a glass of wine. I'm sorry, Brother Tom. We have a good relationship and we are used to fighting. Don't mind. He is obviously half a year older than me, but he keeps calling me Brother Tom. Before I had time to speak, their classmates on the side spoke. Are you kidding? When you were in high school, you and Lunar were just about to have the final blow. If her boyfriend minded, would he mind it? I was stunned, and then I saw Lunar's face turned cold and she placed the cup heavily on the table. Jim, you are drunk. Later I went to the bathroom and when I came back there were only a few people left in the box. Lunar and David sat in the corner and didn't notice me. I heard David say, our agreement is that if we don't have a partner until we are 35, we will marry each other. Now that you have a boyfriend, I feel relieved. Lunar stared into his eyes. So, you really don't mind at all? David spoke openly and patted her shoulder. You want to be happy. After leaving, I hesitated and asked Lunar. She held my hand and explained in a low voice. I was young at that time. We had good relationships. We were just joking casually. I suppressed the sourness in my heart, took a deep breath, and said slowly, but he said, you are just the last. I really can't say those 2 words. He was drunk and talking nonsense. Are you drunk too? Lunar suddenly raised her voice and her tone was stern, and I was startled. He and I have known each other for so long. If it was really possible, we would have been together long ago. She grabbed my hand and looked at me seriously. But now, you are the one who is in love with me. This should prove my feelings, right? Later, David went abroad as an exchange student and simply stayed there to study for graduate school. After graduation, we stayed in this city. Due to her excellent work ability, Lunar was promoted all the way, and I also received several salary increases. After knowing the situation at home, she became better and better to me. But just when everything stabilized and we started talking about marriage, David returned to China again. From the first day he came back, he began to seamlessly enter into my and Lunar's lives. One day I was injured playing basketball and had difficulty moving. I also developed a low fever. Lunar found some medicine for me to take and took care of me at home at night. Just as he was about to sleep, David suddenly called, "Call Lunar. The car broke down in the suburbs. I can't get a taxi. Come and save me." I was holding the cup of hot water, but before I could say anything, Lunar said, "I've taken the medicine. You go to bed quickly. I'll go out for a while." She left me without hesitation and went out, just like many times before, so that I hesitated and wavered. Am I not treating her well enough to make up for the 3 years of youth between them? So, on Lunar's 25th birthday, I planned a grand proposal ceremony. She recruited some of her best connected employees and also called David to witness the ceremony. In front of David, I took out the diamond ring and put it on her finger. My voice was low but gentle. "Lunar, I love you. I really want you to be happy." The people next to me were all talking. "Tom has been planning this proposal for several days. I specifically asked for leave from the company to witness your love. Promise him. Promise him." I looked at Lunar, who was hesitating and felt confused for a moment. I have been chasing her for 2 years and been in love for another 4 years. I have been waiting for this day for too long. She hesitated for a long time, looked at David at the door, and finally agreed to my proposal. "Dude, your phone keeps ringing." The taxi driver's reminder suddenly brought me back to my senses. I lowered my head and saw the words jumping on the screen. Little David. This was Lunar's note to him. Biting my lip, I picked up the phone. Tom, did you forget my phone at home? I responded and suppressed the surging emotions in my heart. Do you want me to send it to you? No, just leave it there. I'll go back and get it later. After hanging up the phone, the car quickly stopped in front of the bar. I calmed down and followed the booth number in the chat history to find it. Under the dim light, a familiar figure suddenly broke into sight. David was sitting in the booth, drinking wine. A beautiful woman came over and started to touch his face. Lunar took a step forward suddenly and slapped the woman's hand away. Don't touch him. The woman was stunned and said angrily, Who are you? Why are you meddling in other people's business? Lunar said without thinking, I'm his girlfriend. Lunar. She turned around suddenly and saw me standing not far away, and her expression suddenly changed. How to describe it? Surprise, panic, anger, several emotions intertwined on her face, and finally faded into an unruffled calm. There's a wedding tomorrow. Why are you here so late? Her gaze fell on my hand and her eyes turned cold. Did I tell you not to touch my phone casually? Yes, but I just touched it now. I smiled uglier than crying. If I hadn't come over, I wouldn't have seen it. It turns out that you always call yourself his girlfriend in front of others. I pointed to David behind her, and he smiled and said calmly, I'm sorry, Brother Tom. Lunar just wanted to help me out. I looked at him. There was an apologetic expression on that handsome face. He is still the same as before. He is generous and confident every time, which makes me look like he is looking for trouble. The string of rationality in my mind suddenly snapped. I opened Lunar's circle of friends and flipped to the one from 4 years ago. If you two are innocent, then tell me, what is this? Lunar looked at me, pursed her lips, and her expression became serious for a moment. David seemed to want to explain, but he was interrupted by Lunar after he said a word. She looked at me and frowned. Tom, we are getting married tomorrow. What's the point of pursuing what happened 4 years ago now? Always holding on to the past. No wonder you always say no one loves you. The sudden surge of sadness almost swallowed me whole. Seeing me like this, Lunar's expression softened again. If you have something to say, please tell me. Please stop making trouble, okay? Realizing something was wrong, her classmates gathered around. In David's aggrieved statement, I became a suspicious person who peeked at his girlfriend's cell phone on the eve of the wedding and even came here to settle old scores. These people were all friends brought by David, and they had been classmates for 3 years, so they immediately took his side. An outspoken boy said directly, Tom, there's no need for you. If they can make it together long ago, will it be your turn? Lunar shouted in a low voice, shut up. I pinched my palms hard, trying to keep myself calm, but my voice still trembled uncontrollably. Okay, since you love each other so much, tomorrow's wedding venue will be given to you. I put my phone on the bar, turned around and left. Lunar caught up with me and hugged me from behind. That's not what I meant, Tom. Her voice paused for a moment, and was carried into my ears by the sound of music. Her emotions blurred. That's just a joke. David and I were really close in the past, but that's all in the past. And when I think about the future, the only person I can think of is you. Only you are in my plans for the rest of my life. I said something wrong and you scold me, that's it. But don't deny my feelings for you and don't abandon me, okay? In a dimly lit bar, she held me very, very tight, just like the day I fell in love with her. During a club mountaineering activity, the ground was slippery and I fell off the edge of a steep hillside. It was Lunar's quick eyesight and hands that caught me. I'm actually very thin, but after all, I still weigh the same as a grown man. She held me tightly for more than 10 minutes, until the classmate at the front came back and rescued us. Lunar's arm was dislocated because she saved me. I felt very guilty, but she comforted me. It's okay. In that case, no matter who you are, they will save you. After hearing this sentence, I was stunned for a long time. When I was a child, my brother and I fell into the river at the same time. My parents rushed to save him at the same time. However, I drank a lot of lake water and was already comatose and had an intestinal infection when I was picked up by the lifeguard, which almost killed me. I always felt that no one in this world would love me, and Lunar is the only exception. So even though we have been together for so long, we have never been in that passionate love period where we want to be together every second. She was always gentle and calm to me. It doesn't matter. It is already very valuable to have someone who is willing to love me and plan me into her future. Lunar. I stared at her hand that was clasped tightly around my waist, and my voice was trembling. I can't believe you anymore. She stiffened slightly against my body. Then he took out his phone and opened a circle of friends in front of me. If you don't like it, I'll delete it now, okay? There is also the wedding tomorrow. To make you feel at ease, David will not attend either. Her tone was almost pleading. I finally relented once again. That night, I didn't sleep for a few hours. At dawn, I was called up to put on a suit and do some styling. All processes went smoothly. David was no longer seen among Lunar's classmates, so my inexplicably restless heart relaxed little by little. At the wedding scene, my dad, who had never given me a good look in more than 20 years, forced out a stiff smile. Lunar is a nice person. Your brother owes his job to her. You must not disobey her. My heart sank. What do you mean? But he refused to answer any more. The music sounded, and amid the noisy blessings from the audience, the MC turned sideways and gave way to the large projection screen. According to the process, a short video of a few minutes will be played on it, which is a sweet memory of Lunar and I's love over the years. She and I have never done anything romantic. I almost flipped through the photo album before I managed to get out 2 minutes. However, the screen suddenly went dark. It seemed that in the corner of the dimly lit KTV, Lunar was drunk, sitting on David's lap, leaning forward and looking at him. Why can't you consider me? David leaned forward and kissed her on the lips. It's not yet time. I want to go out into the outside world. Then the scene switched to Lunar driving a car in the night, and David held up his cell phone to take pictures of her. Wouldn't Tom be angry if you came to see me in the middle of the night? Lunar's tone was calm. Just be angry when you're angry. Nothing is more important than your safety anyway. The last thing is the bar last night. David raised his glass. Happy wedding. And Lunar stared into his eyes with a heavy gaze. What's there to be happy about? Don't you really like Tom? If it's not you, then it's the same for everyone. They are all make do. The video is interrupted. There was silence. I suddenly remembered that last night, before leaving the bar, David drank a bottle of wine and shook my hand drunkenly. It doesn't matter if you can't go to the scene. Brother Tom, I have prepared a wedding gift for you. You will definitely like it. It turns out that this is the gift he prepared. Huge pain swept over me like a tsunami, and there was a coldness that penetrated into my bone marrow, freezing my blood vessels inch by inch. Every second after the video ended, it was stretched to an infinite length by the torment in my heart. Tom. Lunar only had time to utter 2 words when the door of the banquet hall was suddenly pushed open. David walked in wearing a crisp haute couture suit, holding a large bouquet of roses. With a drunken blush still on his face, he stopped under the stage and looked up at her. He slowly raised the ring in his hand. When you came here yesterday, you also brought the ring from 7 years ago. I understand what you mean. Lunar, I've seen enough of the outside world. I don't have to wait until I'm 35. I'll take you away now. Leave with me. He must have drank a lot before coming here, and his eyes were slightly tipsy, and Lunar next to me froze. She just stared at the silver ring in David's hand, as if being swallowed up by a swarm of memories. After a long while, she finally said, "You said that freedom is more important than me. I made a mistake, Lunar. I can't help but watch you marry someone else, and then there will be no more possibility between us." David said affectionately, "Do you still remember what you said? You said that as long as I want, the groom can be replaced at any time. Is this sentence always valid?" Lunar didn't answer immediately. She subconsciously turned her head and glanced at me, and when she saw me standing beside me blankly, a trace of apology flashed in her eyes. "Tom, I'll make it up to you," she explained to me in a low voice and quickly. "David is a person with a strong self-esteem. I can't let him be so embarrassed in front of so many classmates in the past. I promise you, this is the last time." After saying that, without waiting for my reaction, she looked at David again. Yes. The crowd was in an uproar. Countless eyes with different emotions were cast on me. Surprise, sympathy, contempt. There was another sentence that came to my ears clearly. It's so miserable. Even if he was robbed of his marriage, even his partner didn't want to be with him. At that moment, I clearly felt that there was a fire in my heart that had been repeatedly blown out and then rekindled, and finally went out completely and could no longer be lit. After a pause, Luna added, "But I don't want to hear the rest of it anymore, and it's really not necessary." Lunar, I spoke softly behind her. "This marriage is not finalized. I don't need your compensation either. If I look at you again, I can't help but vomit." After saying this, I turned around and walked off the stage. "Tom," Lunar called me from behind, but I didn't look back. I just kept walking out the door. But as soon as I reached the door, I was stopped by my parents. My mother grabbed my wrist, lowered her voice, and said urgently, "Tom, are you crazy? Your relatives and friends are all here, so what's the matter with you running away like this? This is it. Shouldn't I run?" My mother was stunned for a moment and then said, "There must be some misunderstanding. I think Lunar is a nice person. Didn't you do a good enough job and didn't catch her?" I looked at her blankly for a while, then suddenly burst out laughing. "Mom, are you really my mother? You hate me so much. Why did you give birth to me in the first place?" She stared into my empty eyes, speechless for a moment, until my dad said sternly, "You have to get married if you don't want to get married. There is no need to discuss it. You can go and apologize to Lunar later. As a grown man, be broad-minded and tolerant of others." A strong feeling of nausea came over me, and I bent over and retched. "One more second here and I'll puke." Seeing me like this, my mother softened her tone again. "Tom, we have worked so hard to raise you. If you don't think about yourself, you should also think about us as parents. You are not young anymore. Can you find someone better if you leave Lunar?" While talking, the door was pushed open again. Lunar walked out quickly and seemed slightly relieved to see me still standing here. "Tom, please listen to my explanation. Explain what? I looked at her and said, you were the one who got the wedding process right for the last time, and you confirmed the video. Lunar, I was wrong. I have chased you for 2 years, and it was my fault. But if you hate me so much, why do you want to hold this wedding? Why do you want to embarrass me in front of everyone? Lunar froze. I didn't. No nonsense. My dad scolded him from the side, and smiled at Lunar in a friendly manner. Lunar, tell me, let's go in and greet our relatives and friends. Before leaving, he gave me a warning look. After meeting my parents that day, they still scolded Lunar in front of me for not knowing etiquette. But within a few days, their attitude completely changed. Suddenly I had a guess in my mind. Lunar, I looked at him. Did you go behind my back and arrange a job for my brother? Yes, but Tom, that's because I really want to marry you. Lunar stretched out her hand as if to hold my hand. Today was really an accident. To this day, it is no longer possible for David and I just said that just because he has always been a very face-conscious person, and I don't want to embarrass him. But I will definitely not marry him. I just want to marry you. I want to cry and laugh at the same time. My parents want to get married, and my brother wants to work. David wants to save face. Lunar wants David. As for me, I'm just a commodity waiting to be sold. My parents made the bid and Lunar paid for it. It was that simple. I want nothing. Nothing. Do not touch me. I took a step back and yelled, you are so dirty. You are so dirty. Lunar. Her eyes dimmed slightly. I ignored her, calmed myself down, opened the door again and walked in. At the first table in the audience are Lunar's classmates and friends. David, who was wearing a white shirt, was sitting there, accepting the comfort from others. Don't be sad, David. Didn't Lunar agree with you? This is a wedding after all, and her parents, relatives and colleagues are all here. David's tone was stubborn. Didn't she say that she has liked me for 10 years? I want her to prove in front of everyone that I am more important than Tom, otherwise why should she prove her feelings to me? Another boy said as if he was offering a treasure, how about David? The video I cut for you is pretty good, isn't it? David glanced at him, that's good. I'll say hello to my dad another day. It just so happens that their department is short of editors recently. He has always been praised by the stars and has never suffered any setbacks. Even asking another person for his feelings comes at the expense of hurting me. I lowered my eyes and smiled, then walked over and before anyone else could react, I picked up the wine glass on the table and hit him directly on the head. What are you doing? David covered his head and yelled. Tom, are you sick? David glared at me angrily. Lunar chose me in front of so many people. If I were you, I would have run home in shame. You still have the nerve to trouble me. I looked at her calmly. You are the one who destroys people's feelings and is willing to be a mistress. Why should I be so embarrassed? He seemed to be stabbed by these words. Who is the mistress? Please understand, I have known Lunar much earlier than you. Before you even met her, Lunar had already confessed to me. You are just she picked up something I didn't want, and as long as I say something, she will leave you and choose me at any time. In this relationship, you are the mistress, do you understand? I was too lazy to argue with him anymore, so I just picked up the wine bottle on the table and smashed it into his chest again. The bottle broke open and the liquid inside dripped down. Tom. Until Lunar and my parents rushed over and stopped me. Tom, are you crazy? Yes, I'm crazy. He was cautious in his words and deeds, and he endured humiliation for 25 years. Only then did I realize that only by being crazy can you be happy. My dad slapped me hard and tried to slap me again, but Lunar stopped him. Uncle, don't be angry, I'll talk to Tom. She looked at me, with a hint of pain hidden in her eyes. Tom, don't do this, I will make it up to you. David stood aside, in disbelief. Lunar, didn't you see he hit me? Lunar closed her eyes, and when she opened them again, there was a touch of determination in her eyes. David, I have really liked you for a long time. Even when I saw you taking out that ring just now, I still felt that you have always wanted to save face, and I cannot let you be embarrassed like this. I have been extremely kind to you, but now, I confirm that the person I like is Tom. You still have many relatives and friends who love you, but he only has me. I can't leave him. These words made David's eyes turn red. Maybe Lunar herself felt very moved. But there is no wave in my heart. Taking a deep breath, I looked at Lunar and my parents as calmly as possible. My brother's work is none of my business. You can handle it yourself. I won't be involved. Lunar seemed to have a premonition of what I was going to say. Tom, I interrupted her. Lunar, we are done. A wedding that turned into a farce ended in nothing. I don't know which nefarious person recorded the video and posted it online. Originally, the man was referring to David who came to steal the marriage, but after a certain comment, the trend gradually changed. Brothers, there is an inside story. The original groom was a Phoenix man who relied on the woman's family for promotions and salary increases. He also led the whole family to have a relationship with the woman. The one who came to snatch the marriage was to save others from misery. Hero. Now that the wedding has not happened, they still refuse to quit their jobs. That person even revealed my mobile phone number. For a while, my text messages and friend requests were filled with overwhelming insults. Finding the person who posted the comment was not as difficult as I thought. From the watch list he hadn't had time to close, I found David's profile picture. I will directly take a screenshot and send it to Lunar. You let him take care of it before the end of today, or I will call the police. Lunar replied to me almost immediately, Tom, where are you? Let's meet and talk. Okay, so fresh. I was in a relationship for 4 years and she barely responded to my messages within seconds. I once mentioned this matter euphemistically. At that time, she just looked at me lightly. Tom, we don't have to be together all the time to prove that our relationship is good. And now? I ignored her and she sent message after message. Various explanations. Even if I don't reply, she won't give in. Until that night, the comment was still not deleted, and more text messages came to scold me. I simply turned off my phone, took a taxi and went to the nearby police station to report the incident. The next day, I met David at the police station. He had been living smoothly for more than 20 years, and he stumbled for the first time. He looked at me with an extremely ugly expression. However, at the request of the police, he reluctantly apologized to me, and then asked his friend to delete the video. Comments and posted a clarification video again. By the time everything was over and we walked out of the police station, it was already dark. Lunar was standing at the door. In just half a month, she lost weight and looked very haggard. Those clear eyes that once fascinated me were now dim and dull. Seeing me, Lunar walked over quickly and stared into my eyes. Tom, I finally see you. At this moment, David is standing beside me. But it seemed like she could only see me in her eyes. You haven't answered my calls or replied to my messages. After you moved out that day, you never went to the company again. Lunar looked at me carefully. Tom, I said, that day was the last time, and I will treat you wholeheartedly from now on. Lunar. David gritted his teeth beside him. Are you worthy of me? What does this mean now? You clearly promised me that you would wait for me forever. He is too naive. No matter how long-term a person is, he will never wait for someone forever. For example, Lunar at this moment. Lunar turned her eyes to him. David, you found someone to spread rumors about Tom on the internet and expose his mobile phone number. We can't even be friends now. Friends? Who wants to be friends with you? David laughed almost cruelly. Lunar, has the play been going on for so long that you deceived yourself? Whose friends will give each other rings, confess their love again and again, and kiss each other after being drunk? Do you dare to tell Tom that when you came to the UK to find me on Christmas Eve last year under the pretext of a business trip, what happened? Lunar's face turned pale for a moment. She couldn't say anything, her lips moved twice, and in the end she just looked at me with a look of despair. I lowered my eyes and smiled. You don't blush even if you say such dirty things. As expected, birds of a feather flocked together. After a long time, she spoke in a low voice. Those are all things in the past. Tom, I really didn't expect him to come to the wedding. I didn't know about the video either. The best man is our high school classmate and has always had a relationship with David. That's right, that's why I promised him to do such a thing. As long as you give me a chance, let's start over and I'll give you the best of everything, okay? At the end, her voice became softer and softer, even with a hint of pain. After being in love for so long, she has always been calm in front of me and rarely shows such bright emotions. If it were the past, I would probably feel sad. Because at that time, I liked her so much, was emotionally dominated by her, and humbly longed for the love she could give me that I had never received from anyone else. For this reason, I forced myself to ignore her preference for David again and again, even brainwashing myself. As long as she is willing to love me, even if I am not the first choice, even if I am a little wronged, it doesn't matter. But grievances cannot be sought after. Grief can only lead to greater grievance. Lunar, I said expressionlessly, but I don't like you anymore. The sight of you, or even just the thought of living in the same city as you, makes me sick to my stomach. The wedding turned out to be such a mess. I asked the company to take a week off. My boss is a woman 5 years older than me, named Belle. Although she and I were not close friends, we had a chance to meet each other. I was introverted and unpleasant, and I didn't make many friends in the company. She was among the few invitations I sent out for the wedding. She approved my request for leave, even granted me an extra week, and then asked to meet with me. I have seen what happened that day and the videos on the internet. She was sitting in the coffee shop downstairs of the hotel and looked at me calmly. Tom, do you still plan to stay here and work, or do you want to change the environment and work hard? I heard the implication of her words, and a nervous expectation suddenly appeared in my heart. Sure enough, Belle continued, if the company wants to set up a branch in Guangzhou, it needs a few people who are familiar with the business and have strong work ability to open up wasteland. The workload will be greater than now and it will be hard, but you will get the rewards you deserve. You decide whether you want to go or not. You don't have to rush to answer me. There is no doubt that what she gave me was a huge opportunity. Sister Belle, why did you choose me? She smiled, because I have had an experience very similar to yours. Tom, one day you will understand that your work and ability will not betray you. The person who loves you the most is yourself. So finally, I told her that I wanted to go. After leaving the police station that day, Luna tried to catch up with me and talk to me. In front of her, I dialed the police number without hesitation. That night, I wrote a long article to clearly disclose to the public what had happened in the past few years. I also want to tell everyone that I didn't know anything about my brother's work from beginning to end, so I left it to my parents and Luna to negotiate and resolve it themselves. There are many people in the comment area scolding me, saying that I colluded with my parents to climb high. I glanced at it briefly and turned it off calmly. After going to Guangzhou, I changed to a new mobile phone card and started a new life. As Belle said, everything in the branch is in the development stage, and the work is very intensive and hard. Fair enough. Just working every day makes me exhausted, and I have no energy left to grieve. Only occasionally, I still dream about Luna. During the 4 years we were together, she was actually very good to me. There was a time when I was hospitalized with a broken bone. Because of my limited mobility, I had to have her help even when I went to the toilet. Luna, a misophobic person, never complained from the beginning to the end. Growing up, my parents didn't celebrate my birthday very often. After knowing this, Luna planned my birthday very seriously every year. The cakes she made by herself, the hard-to-get amusement park passes, the new computer that I put in my shopping cart for half a year but didn't want to buy, she put all her thought into every gift. It's just that people are most afraid of comparison. I kept hypnotizing myself with, she is also very good to me, so much so that I forcibly ignored the fact that if I had to choose between David and me, she would definitely go to him without hesitation. Fortunately, David is back. She made her choice, I made my choice, and it wasn't too late. Maybe it was because I dreamed about Luna last night. After I woke up, I was stunned for a moment before going to wash up. However, when I walked downstairs of the company, I found a familiar figure standing there. It's Luna. After leaving the original city, I more or less heard about her from my college classmates. After the incident at the wedding escalated and I wrote a lengthy clarification, her company fired her due to her lack of personal ethics and bad style. Luna submitted many resumes but failed to find a suitable job. It even implicated her father, who worked within the system. David's family is in the new media business. After the bad reputation, the reputation and economic benefits dropped significantly. In the end, they fell out completely and didn't even become friends. A 10-year relationship is actually vulnerable to real interests. Tom, originally, I wanted to pretend I didn't see you, but Luna stopped me and said, I finally found you. I turned my head and looked at her expressionlessly. What do you want from me? Do you want me to introduce you to a job? Luna shook her head and looked at me with an almost lustful expression. You disappeared for almost 3 months. The original number was unreachable. Even your parents said they couldn't contact you. So what's wrong with you? I looked down at the time on my phone. Luna, you lost your job because of your bad moral character. But I still have to go to work. She gently pulled the corners of her lips. You still care about my current situation, right? I just want to see a joke. I ignored her and walked straight into the company. However, it wasn't until a little before noon, when my colleagues and I finished working on the plan and planned to go out for lunch, that we discovered that she was still downstairs. The weather in Guangzhou was nearly 40 degrees Celsius, and even my lips turned white after being exposed to the sun all morning. This was the case for the next few days. The weather in Guangzhou is changeable. One of the 2 afternoons, it suddenly rained heavily. Pedestrians hurriedly took shelter. She was the only one standing motionless in the rain. After get off work, she saw me passing by with my bag on my back, and she managed to smile with some difficulty. Tom, I left without looking back. She persisted in this almost self-abuse behavior. Maybe it's to impress me, or to impress myself. But there was silence in my heart, and even my resentment was fading away little by little. That night, I worked overtime and changed the plan until 1 o'clock in the middle of the night. When I walked out of the company door, the wind was a bit cold. I subconsciously wrapped my coat tightly around me. After walking a few steps, he felt dizzy, staggered, and almost fell to the ground. A figure from the side rushed over and helped me in time. There was obvious panic in Lunar's voice. "Tom, what's wrong with you?" I took a few breaths to calm down, and then I broke away from her hand. "I'm fine. Maybe I didn't eat at night and I have a little low blood sugar. I'll take you to the hospital." "Lunar, stop your self-impressed behavior. This kind of belated affection will really make me sick." I looked at her with an indifferent expression. "My life now is very fulfilling. My work is very challenging, and I am very satisfied. If you really want to make my life easier, don't appear in front of me again." Lunar's eyes were almost filled with pain and regret. She looked at me, with obvious depression and helplessness in her voice. "Tom, even if I pursue you for 2 years like you did before, will you still not be able to forgive me?" I sneered. "Lunar, does this world revolve around your will? After causing harm, as long as you apologize, should I forgive you?" I was used to being humble and patient in front of her. She was probably not used to the current sharp aggression, so she just looked at me blankly. "Stop harassing me. If you continue to stand downstairs in our company tomorrow, I will call the police." I dropped these words and turned around to leave. My head was still slightly dizzy, so I walked slowly. But every step was firm. I didn't hear anything about Lunar for a year. However, the branch has developed smoothly and its staff has been expanded several times. I have already taken the position of leader of the project team. The monthly income is almost 3 times what it was before. I gradually understood what Belle said back then. "I won't betray myself. Your love for yourself will only grow deeper and deeper, never fade away." That day, the department won a contract worth tens of millions. To celebrate, they went to a nearby seafood restaurant for dinner. During the dinner, I drank a few glasses of wine and felt a little dizzy, so I went out to the rooftop to sober up. The moist cool breeze blew across my cheeks, and my cell phone suddenly rang. It was an unfamiliar number. "Hello? Hello?" I picked up and asked several times, but there was no word from the other party. I thought someone made a typo, and I was about to hang up when Lunar's hoarse voice rang out. "Tom, how did you know my number?" She seemed to smile softly. "A dying person wants to see you for the last time. No matter how disdainful they are to me, they will give me their phone number." I said coldly. "Lunar, you are almost 30 years old. Is it interesting to use such boring methods?" "Tom, I'm not playing tricks. I'm not lying to you. I'm serious. I'm dying." 6 months ago, Lunar finally found a fairly good job, but was diagnosed with leukemia during her physical examination. There was a suitable bone marrow match and she underwent surgery, but the rejection was severe and her condition worsened repeatedly. Debridement. It hurts. It used to be once every half month, but now it's becoming more and more frequent. "I may not be able to hold on any longer. Before I die, I just want to hear your voice. Tom, can you come see me again?" After a long silence, I finally asked her for the address of the hospital. Before we met, I was thinking about the possibility that she was pretending to be ill and deceiving me. However, after walking into the ward, I immediately confirmed the authenticity of what she said. Because the haggard and painful look on Lunar's face, and the lifeless air shrouded by long-term illness, could not be performed. When she was in college, she was considered a popular figure in the school, even after we fell in love. From time to time, junior students and seniors would post candid photos on the confession wall and ask if she was single. But now Lunar, lying on the hospital bed, almost as thin as a piece of paper, and looking pale, looked so strange. "It seems that you are doing well now." She raised the corners of her lips at me with difficulty. "Tom, at least the world hasn't been too bad to you." I thought about it and asked him, "Didn't David come to see you?" Even though they had fallen out before, they had been friends for more than 10 years. "He has married." I nodded. "Oh, that's to avoid suspicion." I sat beside her bed for a while, looking at a few wrinkled oranges on the cabinet, and said a few words that were not painful or itchy, but finally fell silent. Lunar suddenly said, "Tom, I really regret it. Thinking about it now, I didn't know how to cherish you in the past. You were really a very good person, but at that time, I was blinded by my obsession. The more David kept away from me, the more I couldn't let him go. Maybe this is retribution." I was silent for a moment and stood up. "Don't think so much. Just take good care of your health." She sat up in a panic, wondering if the wound was involved. She hissed in pain and looked at me in panic. "Are you leaving so soon?" "I'm here to report on my work. There will be a meeting at the head office later." Her eyes suddenly dimmed. "So, you didn't come back specifically to see me. Also, I shouldn't be wishful thinking that I would do something that hurt you so much." She smiled bitterly, her expression extremely sad. "Goodbye, Tom." I turned around and walked out of the ward. The corridor smelled of disinfectant. The ground had just been mopped and was a little slippery, so I had to slow down. The nurse passed me and walked into Lunar's ward behind me. A moment later, her hoarse roar of suppressed great pain came from inside, which was almost heart-stopping. I subconsciously tightened the bag strap in my hand, but I walked very steadily and didn't even look back.